So, welcome to Whistle Pig Race. So far, you have seen track videos and a few videos from the shop. This is going to be the first of videos called Learning the Hard Way, where we go over lessons that we refuse to learn any other way. Today, we're going to be talking about instant center, and with me, I have Alex, other way, he's over there, and he owns Whistle Pig.
Yep.
So let me pull up a picture here. We are going to be talking about instant center today, which is a big deal on race cars and a lot of other things. Alex, can you explain how a four-link works real quick? I'm going to pull this picture up.
No. But yeah, there's 4 links, so I guess there's 8 ends of the bars, right? So you contact the axle in 4 points, and you contact the bottom of the car in 4 points, so it's the axle of the car. It allows for suspension articulation and all that, In a drag car, you have an anti-roll bar so whether we're on compression or rebound, it locks the left side to the right, so you don't get the chassis to roll on you, the big front left coming up when they do a wheelie and stuff, but that's the basic gist of a 4-link.
Okay, so let's pretend we're going back to what, 1980, what year is Whistle Pig?
86.
Okay, so in 1986 when they made Whistle Pig, the axle was located forward and backwards with a leaf spring on both sides, right?
No.
No, it wasn't?
I think it had a shock in it. I don't know, it didn't have stock style suspension when I got it, but the stuff that I looked, because I got coilovers,
right.
The stuff I looked at, there was the spring sat on the lower 4-link bar and then pushed up somewhere in the car that my shit ain't hooked to anymore.
Right, but back when Ford made it, it was a leaf spring on the differential, right? With obviously shocks.
No.
Oh, really?
It was a coilover, but it had cool springs in the back.
Okay.
It sat on the 4-link bar, yeah.
Okay, so it was still sporty for 1982. It was still sporty because it had that 4-link and that helps with axle hop and other stuff. So
yeah.
With that too, you can adjust the instant center. And I'm going to explain this as I understand it, which I'm pretty sure is wrong, but you're going to help me with that once I say the wrong thing. Because that's the best way to get the right answer is to say the wrong thing.
I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so what is, I guess that'd be a great way to do it then. How do you understand instant center on your race car? Nice and slow for me so I can suck it in.
Well, a lot of the blower cars back in the day squat, and since the radial cars or whatever, about the time I got into racing, a lot of beater bomb and stuff, if you watch their cars, they anti-squat. So you set up your fuel link in such a way that when you leave the line, it drives the tires into the ground. That's why a lot of the camera angles are just off the back right of the cars. I got my buddy filming me there so I can see how the suspension works right on launch and tune it, whether it be with shock rebound or swinging the bars around in different geometry. And so they call that anti-squat, and I like my car to anti-squat and drive the tires in the ground with lots of traction. Get all the horsepower's down, get it in early in the first 60 foot, and get down the track fast.
Okay, so what you're saying then is the old way of doing it, back with the big blocks and the nitrous guys, is it was almost like taking off in a half-ton truck, where you step on the throttle and the back end squats down and you get weight transfer. But instead of doing that with Whistle Pig and the other cars that take advantage of that anti-squat, when you stomp on the throttle, it's driving the tires into the ground and almost springboarding the car forward. Is that right?
Yeah, it's increasing traction. Maybe not so much forward, but up, so it's kind of artificially making it way more for that little bit.
I mean, it's doing both. It's doing both though, right? Because it's a center of rotation, right? So we're not moving in a linear direction. Yeah. We're rotating around that invisible point. So as it's driving the tires down, it's going to be, equal opposite reaction. It's going to be pushing the car the opposite direction of where it's driving the tires.
Yeah, you're right. It'd be technically swinging around the pivot point of the instant center and maybe moving the car a little bit forward. I don't know. not enough to say though. Like if you trig that out, what's it gonna give me 3,000 forward momentum? You know, the traction's the big deal. And it's
I
not
think
the
it's
spot.
more. I don't think it's so much the like okay we're getting this much out of it. It's more we're not throwing any of that away and we're putting it into going forward.
And squatting, I don't want you to think of that as the old way. Um, Dudes that no prep seem to do it a lot. I heard Billy Hodgson say on the Street Racing Channel that he noticed that the cars that squat seem to get over bumps better because they probably have some rebound in them, right? You know, so
Hmm.
keep that power to the ground. I know like Sherm Baker, I think he's local to Michigan, but he whoops everybody's ass. It sure looks to me like his car squats, you know. So this is people still squat. They make fast cars that squat. It's definitely valid. I just got pretty close to stock Mustang stuff, and I'm radial racing on a diamond ground track. You know, I think separation's the way for me to go.
Okay. So there's a huge difference, obviously, in how a radial car is going to take off from the line versus a big tire, slick, bias ply, old time drag tire car. What is the difference in that? Is it the rubber compound? Is it how soft the tire is overall, or is it all in the sidewall deflection?
Yeah, I I don't really know. I don't have much experience with slicks, but I heard that you can like crumple up a slick. You know, you take my radials off those rims, and they're pretty solid. So sidewall's a big deal. Uh, and yeah, different compounds. I know they make them in different hardnesses and softnesses and all that, but yeah, I've only had one set of rear tires on this car the whole time I had it, so I don't really know.
Yeah, it's amazing. You've gone through more motors than tires.
Yeah, yeah, we're learning the hard way. That's why we named this that
I
way. You
mean,
know?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I should not be doing a tech podcast. My shit is always broken and fucked up, and I've got no clue what I'm doing.
it's learning the hard way, right? Like, we need to understand the suspension a little bit because as soon as you put a wrench on it, stuff's going to start falling apart, and then it's going to be awesome after a couple years.
Yeah,
So, where are you
yeah,
at
for
right now
sure.
with your drivetrain?
Uh, what do you mean, like on the car right now?
Yeah, because you have the motor together now, and you were doing some
Yeah.
stuff with the transmission. What all was going on with that, and what was the solution?
Yeah, I was. So I went 1 to 2 on the trans brake because I didn't computer correctly and had a box check. I think that's on my channel somewhere. I don't know. Um, so I pulled the trans out, and we rolled the sprag, me and my teammate Ryan, and so we put a sprag in it. And that didn't fix it, so I tore it all out again, took it to the trans shop. They fixed it. They found some seal in there. They told me right what it was, but it hadn't been through a transmission once. I'm like, I didn't really understand what I was looking at. I don't quite got it.
So,
My
wait,
mind
wait,
fully
wait.
wrapped around it.
Slow down a little bit here. So, you said you thought it might have rolled the sprag. What exactly is the sprag inside the transmission?
It's something like a bearing that'll roll one way but not the other.
Okay. Yep, I know what part you're talking about now. And then you said that there was a seal that went bad in the transmission, and all I can think about is like a pump seal because I can't imagine anything else inside of it that would be that terrible unless you had like fluid landing on solenoids and shorting them out or something.
It was something real tiny. They told me at the trans shop. It was
Okay.
primary or whatever. I don't know what they said. I don't know the components of the transmission, but it was in a cluster like down in there. It was not near the pump.
Okay, so it was in the valve
And
body.
yeah, I've got no clue. Yeah, no, it was not in the valve body. It was in like the clutch packs and stuff.
Okay. So it's probably like some kind of solenoid because I can't think of anything else that interacts directly with the clutch packs, right? Because you have the big hydraulic solenoids that engage and let the fluid and clamp down on the band. So,
That's all valves. I think there's a trans brake solenoid. It's only electronics in the trans. Like it's all manual valves.
oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot
I'm
of
so-
customized. It's when you make a race car, it's a little you go Mad Max on it because you don't need this and I'm going to throw it away and I'm not going to mess with trying to make it work. Right?
Right.
Nobody puts air conditioning on their race car. And
Right.
nobody, really cares if this part catches on fire if you don't flip this switch before you start driving it because I guess it should have been me driving it, right?
Yep.
So,
Yeah, there's always like 16 things broken when I go to the track that I'm kind of worried about, but I didn't get a chance to fix or look at or maintain or update. Yeah, it's kind of it's a shit show.
I mean, it's always going to be, but what are the goals coming up here for Whistle Pig?
Oh, what do I got? I think I got 4 goals. I want to do a wheelie. I want to dump my parachute. Just use it once. That's all. I'm kind of not excited to use it all the time. Packing it is a pain in the ass. I want to get in the personal best, and I want to coast to an 8. Are my 4 goals this year. Yeah, I'm gonna go look at whatever time slips I have here. But the best I've been on the 60 foot is 131. And yeah, what did I do? Whatever the I'm trying to remember. Oh, so this is September of 23, but I went one second and a half 60 foot. So my car 60 foot's all right.
Okay.
2 second one's the worst that I could find.
So I'm gonna drive into you hard because you know we're good buddies here. But what have you done with the tunes on your car to keep any problems from popping up like they did last year?
Nothing.
So so what I was thinking we could do is if we could get you just an external hard drive and you could just save the tunes on there.
Yeah.
I almost think though
Okay.
that would take more work because then I'd have to expect you to write like quick notes to go with it. You know what I mean? Because you want to know what the date is and why the tune is the way it is.
I'm halfway there. So when I first got it out this year, like, mind you, Brian's been helping me. He's been kind of holding my hand up until pretty much this year. And I'm like, you know what? I got this. I'll ask him questions and stuff. But it's most of my hands on the laptop now. So I'm kind of taking more ownership for this. And I think this season I'm up to Red G on my tune because I'll just change something. Oh, I forgot to check that box. And oh, look, I installed a G meter now, so I need to go in the canvas and set all that stuff up. And I just watch whatever Devin Vanderhoof's video or whatever. The stuff's pretty straightforward, and you know, you got to be a genius to do it. So yeah, I've already kind of started doing that.
Yeah, it's not so much a complexity thing. More what I was going at was like an organization and process thing. Because you know how I am, you know, setting up a process is how you know, prevent yourself from screwing up, right? That's what we're after.
Well, I'm getting there because I haven't really made a good hit that I thought, you know, fucking foot wasn't all the way down on one of them, and I had no trans issues the next time I went to the track, and I haven't been on the track since. So, in the past, like whatever good hit I had, that 566 at 122, I have that data log saved and the tune saved for that, even though it was ill motor, and I have the file for that. So if I hit like a good A to B lick that I felt good about, drove the car right, nothing went wrong, I will totally do that. I've already started doing that. So you know, I have made some changes and just learn. You just go on the track and run the car, and it's like, why did I do that? Oh, I can't find my data log, you know?
Right. Didn't you blow up your car on that 566 at 122?
No.
Okay.
No, drove it home that day.
Okay. I thought that was the head gasket one.
No. Which one was the head gasket? That might have been... No, because I'm in the wrong lane. That was like a 6-something. You know, like a 6-1.
Yeah, because you let off far before, you know, well before you got to the end of the track on that one. Like, I thought you lifted on that one.
No, I had to stay in it to beat him. Because I didn't lift the head until I got... For some reason, I didn't make boost until right down at the big end, and then that second fuel pump didn't kick in because I didn't laptop good enough. There was a 609 and 119, assuming this is the correct time slip. I don't remember the date that was. That's when I pushed the head gasket, not when I grenaded it, you know.
Okay. So, we got some goals for this year. You're going to have to wait until I'm at the track filming you before you aim for wheelies, and that's going to have to be, that might be an end of season project there. We'll see what happens.
I'm thinking front shocks. Like right now I got strange shocks with extenders on the top, so you can't adjust the rebound. Well, you can, but I'd have to unthread the coil over, jack up the front of the car. You know, it's a big what to do. So I'm like, man, for whatever, $2,500, I'll buy some lengths or maybe long travels. I don't even know. I guess I'd have to call them on the shop. I just know it's going to be pricey, and I'm not ready to do that yet. You know, I think I can learn a little bit more with these crappy shocks before I upgrade.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer, and until you can positively say these shocks are holding me back and nothing else, you shouldn't replace the shocks yet. I
Yeah, I'm
don't.
kind of with you.
I mean, I know that you know the car has time on the table, so until you see what it's doing at that point, I don't. I don't think there's a huge point in replacing the shocks. But
Yeah, I like tunability and I like Gucci whiz bang shit. Like some stuff I spend no money on. You know, the stupid shifter, for example. Hell, I like my old shifter. This is Gucci shit. I want the Motion Racehorse shifter.
all right, so it sounds like we got some plans. So, are you going to be adjusting the instant center at all this year?
No, I've got to do some floor length work, so the axle is not quite centered in the car.
Left
So
to right
I'm gonna
or
have to,
parallel
yeah,
wise? Left to right? Okay.
yeah, it's left to right. It's real close to the coilover spring. I mean, I'm talking like 4th close to the passenger side coilover spring, and I got maybe half an inch on the other one. So I was gonna split that. It looks kind of violent. It looks pretty good, but I gotta split that, which you loosen one upper and tighten the other one. But that way you throw off the pinion angle and stuff, so I have to screw around underneath it for a while and mess with that and try and get that right. But it runs and drives, so it does not run.
Yeah, we all saw it go to the
I
party
think,
store the other day.
yeah, yeah, a little crappy video I took, and I posted some pictures of that on Facebook too.
That's pretty cool. So, have you said that we were having trouble looking at the fluid level in the transmission because you got to go down the dipstick tube and you have to do it while it's running in park.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely need to check that out before you go and drive it because overfilling transmission fluid can be a big trouble.
I think it was under.
Okay.
But I think I got it. I came back and I'm like, it's still whining a little bit, and it read low to me, so I just dumped the rest of the fluid I had in, which is probably about another quart. That should get me really close. I might have to go buy more fluid, but
Yeah, if you're tickling the bottom of the
day.
dipstick, 2 pints putting in there, like that's gonna put you right where you need to be.
quarts. I don't know what the pint is. But
Well, there are 2 pints in a quart, so if you put a quart in, you put 2 pints in.
okay.
And the dipstick reads in pints, so that's why I'm saying in pints here. But
Yeah, I don't know. I buy them in gallon jugs. It's John Deere High Guard, so I measure them in jugs.
one of my favorite race car tricks I've seen is you need to put pressure on the transmission to get some of the bubbles out sometimes. And I saw this guy warm up his transmission and check the fluid level by slowly pulling up to the side of his barn and just putting it in drive and going and smoking a few cigarettes while the other car was just pushing against the side of his barn.
Oh, that's funny.
Hey, it
I
works.
wonder what the dudes with dialysis machines do to them. You know what I'm talking about?
No, what are you talking about?
So a lot of fast cars have external transcoolers, so they roll back to their trailer and they hook lines like the trans lines and pump their trans fluid through like a worm keg in a cooler. Is basically what this is, and like the street outlaw guys and stuff call them dialysis machines because it kind of makes sense, right?
I guess.
But it's an external trans. It cools the fluid down between rounds, and I wonder, like, there have to be a little bit of air in that system at all times, right?
I see. Here's the thing. I've worked at places before where you would change transmission fluid, and how they would change the fluid is they had a giant cylinder, and this cylinder was probably, I don't know, 8-10 inches in diameter and like 3.5 to 4 feet high. So it held quite a bit. And in the center of it was an aluminum piston with O-rings on either side of it. And you would go in between the cooler and the transmission, and it would force the dirty fluid into it and push new fluid out of it. And the point of all of this is with quick disconnects, you're not going to get much air in there at all. And you don't have to worry
Right.
about really losing fluid, especially these guys who probably have actually nice connectors on their cars instead of whatever GM put on before 15 years of road salt. So
Right.
I'm sure it works pretty well, but man,
Yeah, because that's
you'd have to have some hot fluid to do that. Like, I don't know. I'd rather
well,
duct tape a
on the
block of
trans
dry
brake.
ice.
Yeah, on the trans brake, the car goes, uh, forward and reverse and fights itself, and they say it heats up like 100 degrees a second. So it's probably pretty hot. These guys have dump valves and stuff. They're doing shit with their lock-up converters and all sorts of stuff. I don't understand. That's too big boy for me. I'm down here at like shit modulation level.
So I can give you a little bit of insight into that because it doesn't just happen on race cars. You get the exact same kind of dramatic temperature rise on power steering when you hit the pressure blow off valve at the end of lock. So when you go all the way to the end of your steering wheel and it's going, yeah, it's heating up like that, which is why some
Okay.
people's car has power steering fluid that's just like black. Because I'm turning
Okay.
tight, I need to just hold it on that lock. And fluid's not compressible, otherwise we wouldn't have hydraulics. So you end up
Right.
with really, really hot fluid to the point where some cars do have power steering coolers on them. I think Ford did that for a
Yeah.
while.
And I put a trans cooler on with some Fig, which is just like an eBay deal. Small little radiator that I plumbed in myself. There's lines on the side of the case, and then I put a fan on. And Brian helped me wire it in because that was like when I first got the car and couldn't hook nothing to the Holly yet. Didn't quite know what I was doing. That was like one of the first things I did, mostly by myself without him holding my hand. So it's been a couple moments these past 3 years. I've gone from little stuff like that would absolutely sink me to be a problem to blow my motor going, holy shit, look at that.
Yeah, it was funny the
So,
other
yeah.
day when you were talking, you were like, oh man, my truck's got this check engine light on. I don't know what to do. I'm panicking. I'm freaking out. And I'm like, it's funny how you blow up a motor on your race car and you're like, oh, well, I guess I did that again, but the truck, man, the truck's important. We need the truck.
The truck's not having to work. That race car, I've had to push that piece of shit on a trailer a couple times now.
Yeah, you can forget about that problem for a little while, but getting to the party store the reliable way, not so much. But all right, dude. Well, thanks for coming on here and talking to me about Instant Center. This was good, and I think people will hopefully learn something. And if they didn't, they can tell us what they didn't learn down there, and maybe we can do better next time.
Yeah, man. Maybe I get one of my race car buddies to come on who actually knows some answers to these questions and can teach us some shit.
Hey, that'd be cool to get some guests on here. All right, dude. Well, I will talk to you
Yeah.
later.
All right, bye.